Hello, it is your astro coach Sarah here for your Pisces season, sun and rising signs. Oh my goodness. Y'all feeling this shit yet? Okay, so this Pisces season is fully loaded, meaning we have a lot of Pisces energy. So we are all going to get to know Pisces really well, like it or not. Um, all right, so Pisces rules, it's obviously a water sign. It rules oceans and sea life and things of that nature. It also rules the feet, oddly enough. So if you don't know, the zodiac actually is a journey through the human body, starting with the head at Aries and ending with the feet in Pisces. Why? Why is Pisces rule of feet, even though it's a water sign and it's duality and spirituality? Because it's a reminder that we are spiritual, energetic beings living in a human world, in a human experience. And we're meant to experience all things human, including emotions, including, all of the health and wellnessy things and the drama and all of that. And oh boy, do we have all of it right now. so, okay, so a couple things here. Well, not a couple. There's a lot. There's like so much astrology that I literally, my head is like processing so much of it. So I'm gonna do my best. um, Okay, so here's a couple of things though to get us moving in the right direction. Number one, you may or may be experiencing some sort of sleep disruption or getting like vivid dreams, or just having like lots of dreams, or you're not sleeping at all. That would be me. I've been dealing with insomnia. I have a feeling it's because Jupiter's in Gemini direct, and many other aspects happening in my own personal chart. So you may be experiencing insomnia. I'm filming this on February 22nd, and so it could have a lot to do with Mars stationing, getting ready to go direct. Thank God. And just all of the things happening in the world, and I tend to respond to my body, like response to the collective, whether I like it or not, or whether I know it's doing it or not. It does that because that's how my body works. Which brings me to psychic, intuitive. I want to talk about this. This is really important because I don't know if you've noticed, but like the astrology has been really loud recently, not only in like the world. We've had like air traffic problems, plane crashes, but also just the people around you. Like I've known people who are just like really noticeably experiencing their astrology, whether they know it or not. Most people don't really notice their astrology, but like um they're reactive to things for a stretch of time, and I'm like, oh, that was between the new moon on their Mars and the full moon square Uranus on their ascendant. Like, so they were a complete drama show for 2 weeks. You may be noticing during the new and the full moon that you're way more psychically sensitive, and you're manifesting things, or you're like having visions, or you're like experiencing emotional overload, or any number of things. And so what I will say about this time and space is that yes, our psychic senses are coming online like a freight train. And so, just be aware that you are experiencing new skills, new abilities, and that you are okay and you're in good company, because every person that I've talked to who's in some sort of spiritual practitioner capacity is also experiencing all of the everything. And so, whether you are hypersensitive to things that you hear, maybe you've got ringing in your ears, or and different pitches and different things. Maybe you're noticing numbers like crazy, like palindrome numbers. I use a military time, so I notice like 1441 frequently, or maybe you're noticing 222 or 333, or any repeated numbers. Those are syncs, and those are the universe trying to, or your guide team trying to get your attention. Or maybe you're noticing chronologicals like 123 or 234. I'm noticing 234 a lot. And so, 345 is another one. So maybe you're noticing things like that. These are all normal. These are, ways that like I said, your guide team, your spirit team's trying to get your attention. And so you need to pay attention to what you're feeling or thinking about when you notice these little things. I typically, when I see repeated number, when I see like the chronologicals or the palindromes, those are mine. I mean, I get the 333s and all of the repeateds, but like the palindromes and the chronologicals resonates with me differently, I guess. But I just tune into like, what was I thinking about? What was I feeling in the moment that I saw those numbers? That's what I typically do when I see the numbers. So that's a way you can kind of just practice tuning into your spiritual self, your higher self, trying to get your attention. You may be noticing like things out of place or something missing. This is pretty normal too. You thought you put the coffee cup on the counter, turns out you put it in the sink or the dishwasher. And you're like, wait, how did it get there? Because in another timeline, you put it there. So I know these things sound maybe a little delulu, but they're not. It's we're meshing timelines together and it's making us feel a little delusional. And in some cases, maybe we are delusional. So like you don't have to like make up sinks, right? They're just gonna be there. You're gonna be present. They're gonna be present. You don't have to make up a sink or anything like that, or a queue or whatever. Q as in Q, CUE, a queue, like a queue, like you're queued up and ready to go, not Q as in the queue, whatever it's called, group. Conspiracy theory group or whatever the hell it is. Anyway, so all right, so we've got a lot going on with air traffic. We've talked about that a little bit. That has a lot to do with Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Taurus. There was a lot of activity between Mercury and Mars and Uranus, and add Pluto into the mix, and that's where a lot of the plane crash activity is coming from. My heart goes out to the families affected. However, Pluto and Aquarius, this is kind of some of the dark of Pluto and Aquarius, is that Pluto is the planet of transformation or death and rebirth. And Aquarius, Uranus rules the skies. So unfortunately, that's a thing. And thinking back, the Leo King mentioned in 2020 that air travel was either going to decrease or it was going to have to change. And a lot of things are going to have to change. And systems that we use are going to have to change and upgrade to newer technologies and things like that. Communication systems are going to have to change. All of this is going to start when Uranus enters Gemini in July. So we're not there yet, but we're definitely seeing the holes in the ship, right? We're seeing the leaks in the ship, and where things need to change, but we're not to the change part yet. We're at something's got to show us what needs to change, unfortunately. And so there's that going on. There's floodings going on, lots of flooding. There was flooding. Of course, we know about the flooding in the Carolinas and in Eastern Tennessee back in October, November. And now we have flooding in Eastern Kentucky. That was going on. And so we have floodings going on. I had heard about a mudslide in California. That'll continue to be a thing. Don't forget that, those of us who live in like the snowy climates, if you've had an excess amount of snow, that snow will eventually have to melt. So there could still be more flooding, and Pisces season can bring about flooding, especially when we have, the sun, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, North Node. We have 5 different things in Pisces. Now, I'm going to get it right. Mercury will move out of Pisces and into Aries, but both Mercury and Venus will station retrograde during Pisces season and back into Pisces. So we are definitely in Pisces energy for a long haul here, with a lot of potency in the third decan between 20 and 29 degrees of Pisces, in particularly around, I would say, 24 to 26 degrees of Pisces is going to be a very active spot or a very active group of degrees. So if you've got planets or placements between 20, what did I say, 24 to 26 of Pisces, you're definitely gonna notice some shizit. So whether you have it doesn't matter what you have there. It doesn't have to be your sun or your rising. It could be that your Mars is there, your Mercury is there, your Venus is there. If you have your Venus there, all the better, because your creative intuition could actually be like hyper oversensitive. So that could be a good thing if you can channel it and put it into good use. And I think that's what this all kind of comes back to is, yes, this is a lot of Pisces energy. Yes, this is a lot of, potential psychic stuff and intuition and things like that. But our job in this human existence is to channel it and harness it into creativity or in projects or service or our own personal health or our own personal like well-being or our own personal how we are compassionate or how we treat ourselves, and therefore how we treat others. And so really feel into and consider how you are showing up in the world right now, and who you're following on social media or even any other media outlet. Pisces does rule media. And so, if you're following someone on social media that's just screaming and yelling about how much the world sucks and how it's doom and gloom and dystopian, you might want to consider whether or not you really want that energy in your space right now. And if you are the one who is doom and gloom, dystopia, constantly complaining, yes, I know there is a lot of change happening, and it's affecting people in their personal daily lives. I really get that. And this just goes to show that nothing was secure, right? Federal government jobs used to be secure jobs. I used to work for the federal government. It was after a year of probation that you were like locked in. You weren't going to get fired. You were going to be reprimanded to death, but you weren't going to get fired. Now they're letting people go at the federal level. So federal jobs are no longer secure jobs, nor are state jobs. So, and this is South Node Virgo, unfortunately. South Node Virgo rules work habits, work routines, daily routines, all of those sorts of things. These things are going to change. Our work and how we like employment, maybe I should use that word instead. Our employment as a whole is going to transform in the next, not only 18 months, but over the next 5 years. Whatever you thought was safe and secure doesn't mean it is. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, because I think some jobs will probably never go away, but it doesn't mean that they won't go away. And you need to be prepared for that. I think we all need to have a backup plan. We all need to have a plan B. We all need to be aware of changes, and that this world is changing very rapidly. And so, it's just we all need to be tuned into that. What else do I need to talk about? Oh, I did mention that Mercury and Venus will both station retrograde during Pisces season. As of right now, Venus is in her pre-retrograde shadow. Mercury will be right after the new moon in Pisces on the 27th. He'll be in his pre-retrograde shadow. Venus stations retrograde March 2nd, 1st or 2nd, depending on your time zone. And Mercury stations retrograde on the 15th, right after the lunar eclipse in Virgo. And so things to do with communication, contracts, like important documentation, things to do with finances, relationships, passions, your passion projects, or even just your passionate love affair or relationship. These things are all going to be up for review, redefinition, renegotiation, all of these sorts of things. And so these are both personal planets, meaning they do affect, we have Mercury as communication, travel, and all of those things. Mercury affects our daily life. Venus affects our daily life because it's our relationships and it's feminine and all of those things. So and finances. So, you notice that we've had a lot going on with money changes. That's because Uranus has been in the Venus ruled sign of Taurus for the past 8 years. So consider that as you're moving into the next couple of months, that both Venus and Mercury will station retrograde at the same time and pretty much follow each other back into Pisces before they station direct. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Also, I need to talk about, you can work with me. You can get an AstroGoals session. You can get a wellness astrology. You can get a full chart reading. I did add that one back. You can work with me. I am working on some things in the background, trying to deal with my own frustrations and my own, like, where am I going with all of this stuff? Because I have a lot to offer and I want to be able to offer it in the best way possible that people are, open and interested in doing and participating in. And so I don't know. I don't know what things look like just yet. I feel like I'm kind of at a standstill. Mars is stationing. So maybe once Mars gets going direct, I will have some answers to my own frustrations, my own situations. And I also said in my 2025 preview forecast, don't plan things because everything's going to change. And I can tell you just from my own personal experience that things I thought was happening this year is no longer happening, or it's changed in some way, or it's going a different way. And therefore other things are opening up. So here's the thing. Things are going to change, right? Every time God shuts a door, he opens a window. Rejection is redirection. So if you feel like something is closing, which something is definitely closing for you, you don't get this much Pisces energy and not have something closing. Something is definitely closing for you. Be available and open to what may be opening up. Don't freak the fuck out because something is closing or ending. It means that something is opening, right? I did just hear somebody, the person that was going through the whole drama show, was like, gosh, I feel like everything's falling apart, just as I felt like things were getting, coming together. And it's like, yeah, that's called breakdown to breakthrough. So right before you have a breakthrough, you feel like you are at your wit's end, you are at the end of your rope. That is called a breakdown. And then you move into the breakthrough. So, all right. So lots of stuff going on. I'm going to attempt to show the charts, but I did film this yesterday. It sounded like shit. I felt terrible about it. And so I'm refilming it. But I'm going to share the charts. I don't know what happened in the one I did yesterday, but there was some kind of weird gray box in the middle of the charts. And I don't know why. It's not on the images. I don't know what the hell was going on. Anyway, so I'm going to share the charts. We'll take a look at the Pisces new moon on the 27th of February and the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th. And then we will get into your sun and rising signs. There's a lot going on. So if these videos are getting lengthy and you don't like that they're long, first of all, there's a lot to talk about because there's so many things happening all at once. But number two, if you want to speed up any YouTuber, particularly an astrologer, because every astrology video that I have watched in the last week has been a minimum of 2 hours long. In fact, I watched one the other day that was over 5 hours long. So I watched it in chunks. Okay. I sometimes binge, but anyway, go up here in the upper left-hand corner. Wait a second. It's the upper right-hand corner. This is my left hand, but it's your right hand when you're looking at my videos. The right-hand corner, there's a little gear, and if you're using a screen reader, it says more options or something like that. Click on that, and it's going to give you a bunch of different options. One of them is going to say playback speed. It says normal. Click on normal. Come down where it says 1.25 or 1.5. And select whatever one you want. Or if you want to go clear up to 2.0, I don't give a shit. I'm just telling you there's an option if you want to speed up a video because there is a lot to talk about. That being said, everything here will be time stamped. However, I do feel like it's important for you to look at the charts and then go to your rising and sun signs. That's just my opinion. Just so you kind of have an overall glance of what's going on. So it's a lot. I understand it. And here we go. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. Pisces season. Everything's about to change. Mutable water. It's the end of the world as we knew it. Tayotwaki, right? Okay. I was just thinking that I only know the term Tayotwaki from Beverly Hills 90210, and I just showed my age, so that's okay. Oh, that reminds me. If you haven't yet, tune into my series that I'm doing. You are a leader. Please act like one. Okay. I am getting what's the term? Not sugarcoating an armbar, not sugarcoating a chokehold if you're familiar with martial arts. But anyway, if you want something like in your face a little bit, and a little bit me being a little bit in your face about, we all need to start embracing our leadership capabilities, that's the series for you. And even if you don't want to hear it, go listen to it anyway, because let me tell you, there's things that I have hesitated to read, books I've hesitated to read because I'm like, oh, I'm not a leader. I'm not this, I'm not that. And then I read it and I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually doing half of the things suggested in the book. You're a leader. Start acting like one. Okay, let's look at the charts and see what we got going on. All righty. So we're at the Pisces new moon on February 27th. This is gonna, let's see, will it let me zoom in here? Okay, here we go. February 27th at 6:44 p.m. Central Time. Adjust for your time zone, of course. This thing is at 9 degrees of Pisces, but look at that Pisces, y'all. That is loaded. So hopefully this is recording correctly and there's not a gray window in the middle of my video. All right, 9 degrees of Pisces. So of course, 9 degrees of the mutable signs, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius. If you got anything there, even if you have something at 9 degrees of Cancer or Scorpio, you'll get the trine from this new moon. If you are in the trine or in the square, extra caution on hydration and taking good care of yourself. This is a very watery moon. Getting grounded, doing some yoga, getting some movement in to move the energy. This is mutable water, so movement, and being on your feet, connecting with the earth. Using some earth oils and things like that, or earthy teas, or earthy, nutrition, things like that. Root vegetables is where I was going with that. And so, but look at this Pisces. So the new moon's at 9 degrees Pisces, Saturn's at 20, Mercury's at 24. So he is not quite within his pre-retrograde shadow. The North Node's at 27, Neptune at 28. That is a lot of Pisces. And that 27, 28 is what we really want to pay attention to with regards to delusions, illusions. Don't believe everything you see. Remember that AI is a big deal. AI green screens, claymation, auto-generated imagery, and auto-generated this, that, and everything else in between. And I'm not a whole AI hater, but I do think it's something that could be used to fuck with people, because most people don't do their own research. Most people, I'm sorry, most people just don't look into everything. They take everything at face value, assuming that media outlets know what they're talking about when they don't. And I'm just as guilty, right? I see a social media video and I just believe whatever it is without diving in to see. So I am just as guilty here. But the point is that you really just want to be attentive to not get into a freak out mode or fear or anxiety over things that you have no confirmation or clarification whether it's actually happening or not. And so, oops. Okay. So it's really important to focus on yourself, what you're experiencing, like what you're doing, or feeling or whatever, because it's very easy to get overreactive to something or some circumstance or something that you heard, saw, or whatever, or something someone else said that may or may not actually be legit information. Of course, on this new moon, we have Venus at 10 degrees. So she's getting ready to station retrograde, just like a day or two after this new moon. I feel like most of us are going to feel this new moon coming like 2, 3 days ahead. Like it peaks on the 27th. Hold on, which is Thursday. I would say you're probably going to be feeling this new moon as early as Monday. Because I'm already hearing from people that like new, they're already experiencing vivid dreams and psychic stuff and syncs and just overwhelming amounts of stuff. And the thing is that if you don't know how to interpret what you're experiencing, what your body is experiencing, whether it's your clairs, as in your psychic hearing, psychic smelling, psychic visions, psychic knowing, if you don't know how to manage that or hone that or harness it, it's overwhelming. So I definitely recommend getting support around that. Okay, so this new moon is square Jupiter. So the thing I feel like with that is now that Jupiter is direct, Jupiter seeks the truth, and Gemini is information. And so Jupiter direct in Gemini, I would say that this is, potentially information that is truth, and therefore we may have some levels of cognitive dissonance, meaning the distance between what you currently believe to be true and what is true. And the distance can vary for each person, but the cognitive dissonance is the space between. So it takes you a while. It's kind of like, when you learn a new skill, it takes you a while to integrate it, right? Or you practice a new habit, it takes you time to integrate it. The same holds true for information. It's going to take you a while to understand and accept something that is probably true. And so we're learning a lot about our health systems as well. So of course, Pisces rules things like hospitals, institutions, prisons, mental institutions, any other type of residential institutional facility could be on the docket here too. And so, you want to be attentive to that. Pisces also rules fuel, as in like gasoline to run a car, or, other types of liquids, um, um, other types of liquids. I don't know what else to say there. um, but we could, definitely, now that our administration has changed, particularly here in the United States, like we're going to be hearing some things. And so who knows what could be on the docket here. There could be some health related issues though throughout this Pisces season, just because Pisces Virgo is the health axis. And so, I definitely know that there's a lot of like influenza and stuff like that going around. And so, you can certainly expect to be hearing more about that. So anyway, yeah, we've got the square to Jupiter. We do have, let's see, Saturn still in a trine with Mars at 17 Cancer, so well-being. Yeah, so that's the new moon on the 27th. Let's go to the full moon lunar eclipse. I really don't like the new photos set up. There we go. All right, new moon, full moon, lunar eclipse in Virgo. This is peaking on Friday, March 14th. Thankfully, it's not a March 13th Friday. 1:54 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Do we still have a daylight savings time? I don't know. Oh, that would be the other thing, is like time is an illusion. So I mean, whatever as time right now, don't expect to be on time, especially once we get into this full moon, because Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde shortly after this full moon. So and I'm already hearing people being like, I don't know what day it is half of the time. Most of my clients are late. Nobody can, this is going to be a thing, especially once Mercury stations retrograde. in mid-March is that people are going to have no concept of time. Also, remember that Saturn, Chronos, rules time, and it's in a no boundaries sign, water sign of Pisces. So, like, people's concept of time. So don't beat yourself up if you're running late. Don't beat yourself up if you get an appointment. Don't beat yourself up if you oversleep or your sleep routine is completely whack. All of that's going to be par for the course right now. We're breaking up with some pretty big conditioning and programming, wherein, if you, feel like you got to be awake at a certain hour, and beat yourself up if you're not, that's going to be a big no-no. You're going to need to be compassionate and accepting that if you needed to sleep until 10 or 11 in the morning, that's when you needed to sleep till. And so, be attentive to your commitments. But the days when you don't have commitments and you don't need to be awake, maybe just don't even set your alarm and just let your body relax. And so time is going to be a big time illusion. Okay. What else we got going on? This full moon is at 23 degrees of Virgo. Virgo rules health, digestion, daily routines, work. Don't be surprised if there's some job situations, particularly if you have Virgo in the 6th house or the 10th house. And so that would be Sag risings and the Aries risings. It's also in a trine to Uranus. So we got a trine going on. Let's see if I can get the sun in on that. That's a sextile. So there is some aspect happening to Uranus. Let's see. I thought I saw something with Mars. Not really. I mean, Saturn's still in a pretty loose trine to Mars, but it's breaking apart. But actually, it'll cross again as Mars continues to move forward. So we're not done with the Mars-Saturn situation. But let's see. So we've got Venus retrograde already back to 7 degrees. She'll go back into Pisces shortly. Neptune at that anaretic 29 degree, that final degree. Neptune's at the final degree of the zodiac here. So if you notice things leaving your life, leaving your energetic space, let them go. Trust me, don't fight this. It will hurt more if you fight it. I know someone who is fighting tooth and nail. I've talked about like temper tantrums and fighting tooth and nail, claw and fist to keep things in their life, and it's really messing up other things. So if something is leaving your energetic space, leaving your life, let them go. Grieve the grief. I understand. I know a lot of people who are experiencing death right now, in some capacity. And, whether it's their parents, their spouse, siblings, every which way, I understand. And unfortunately, that is the Pluto Aquarius, is population decline. People are leaving the planet, souls are done. So people are choosing to leave. And so while that is a sad, somber situation, that is part of it. It's the same thing with the jobs. It's the same thing with, the changes that we're experiencing in multiple ways, relationships ending, people getting divorced after long marriages, all of those things. It's part of what we're experiencing right now. And I'm compassionate. And I also understand this is, part of what we are going through right now. So, anywho, but I would say let things go that are ready to go. Let things be that are ready to be done. Don't fight you fight the current. You really want to go with the flow on this, because especially as we get closer to this lunar eclipse and then the upcoming Aries solar eclipse, it's going to, all of the change is going to be moving. So, is the energy going to slow down anytime soon? No. We'll be finally kind of in some sense of not craziness. maybe by August, maybe by September. But 2025 is a year of transformation. It's the year of the wood snake. So, there is definitely a lot going on. So I would say around this eclipse, something to do with health, something to do with healthcare, health systems, medications. There could be something to do with possibly something to do with money with that trine to Uranus. I don't know. I don't know if I feel that so much as like health or water or for all I know, this could be an earthquake leading, with a potential tsunami situation. But I don't want to bring that into existence. I'm just saying, like, earth things, water things could happen with this lunar eclipse. But it also could be some like leadership that chooses to be done, right? So, any number of things could be happening here, but just know that with all of this amount of Pisces being the 12th sign of the zodiac, Neptune being at the final degree of the last sign of the zodiac, something's got to go. So we're all going to be going through that in some capacity. So, all right. So here I thought if I redid it, it would be shorter, but the reality is that it's not going to be shorter. Let's get into your sun and rising signs. We got a lot to talk about. Please feel free to move forward and backward as you wish. Hopefully you listened to all of the beginning of this. There was something else I was going to say, and I don't know what it was, so I might randomly put it in somewhere. But anyway, so at the end of the day, be attentive to yourself. Know that if whatever you're experiencing is meant for you to experience right now. So, all right, let's get into the sun and rising signs and go from there. All right, Aries, this is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th. Somehow I have the 12th in my head because I said something about the Leo full moon on the 12th and now I can't sort it out. Anyway, okay. All right. So Pisces is your 12th house. You're going to have some sleep issues. You're probably going to have some dream issues, or if not vivid dreams. You also could be dealing with like hidden enemies, including your own subconscious. Could be working against you. You could be self-sabotaging something, but also you could be, dreaming and having like some creative dreams. Mars direct in your fourth house, something emotional, something about your home, your foundation. And the Virgo lunar eclipse, be attentive to in your sixth house, be attentive to your job, your daily routines, your health habits. You may have to change something to support your health, your well-being, and something may just have to change. You've also got changes happening in your 11th house with groups, communities, social media, things like that. And so you could be shifting how your involvement in a group. Maybe your friend group is changing, but it also could be just your social media presence or lack thereof, and how you engage, interact in your community. I would say this has more to do with your community just because Mars direct in your fourth house is your home, your foundation. And so your community that whoever you live around, whatever your participation in your local community could be important. But I'd really be attentive to that 12th house, hidden enemies, also the retrogrades with Mars and Venus between your first and your 12th house. Something about relationships or communication in relationships, and maybe it's not as it seems, could be a little, there could be some realizations with regard to relationship communication. We got the Angel Tarot for Pisces season. This is card number 15. This is the ego. This is Archangel Jophiel, Jophiel. And this is, ooh, a false sense of entrapment or contentment. Nope, entrapment. Ooh, a false sense of entrapment. Um, being overly focused on material things. Yep. And negative or fear-based thoughts. Well, this points directly at that 12th house, and your own self-sabotage, being overly focused on the material things. Like if your job happens to be on the chopping block, with that Virgo lunar eclipse, and you're attached to having all of the material things, like this could have you rethink that. This is also like spirituality. If you're overly attached to material stuff and you're keeping too much material possessions, it could be really hindering your ability to connect with your spiritual self. It could be, could be too much. When we have a lot of excess material stuff, it tends to clutter our mind and our spirituality as much as it clutters our home. And so, decluttering or really considering the size of space that you need, or don't need, based on the amount of stuff that you own. I do think, though, that there is something to do with like negative thoughts, again, back to that self-sabotage, the 12th house, with Saturn there. I certainly see, maybe even the last like 3 years, you have been, maybe you've been in denial, and Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde. I mean, we're all going to face some pretty hardcore reality checks, as these planets move between Pisces and Aries. We've had so much Pisces and Earth energy for the past 8 years that like all these planets now moving into fire and water, or fire and air signs, is going to be a huge reality check for all of us. So, be careful, be conscious or conscientious of what you actually value. So that's what I got for Aries. Taurus, sun and rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025, to include the Pisces new moon on the 27th of February and the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. And so, of course, Pisces is your 11th house, groups, communities, social media, and then your fifth house, where the Virgo lunar eclipse will be, did I say fifth house already? Okay, so immediately I'm like, are you being like delusioned or illusioned by potentially building something on social media that's keeping you from actually tuning into your creativity in your fifth house? So social media is not the end all be all for creativity, because there's so many things that cannot be transmitted via social media, right? Like you can't truly appreciate a piece of art through a picture. You can't truly appreciate the energy through social media, right? That's kind of one of the things that I've been like feeling on for myself, is like people don't feel my actual energy via social media. So something perhaps, needing to change with your creative outlets. This could also do with children, that Virgo fifth house. Maybe you have a child that's graduating from high school or college and is moving on, with that Virgo lunar eclipse on the 14th. And so, something could be going on there. You also have Mars stationing direct in your third house. So, with Pluto in your 10th. So career, communication, like things could get like clarified with Mars stationing direct. The 10th house is going to be the focus for like the next 20 years. So, right, like, yes, there's things changing in your career and public appearance, but but really it's the 11th house, 12th house where the Pisces Aries energy is, and the 5th house and the 3rd house that are kind of more important, I guess, or more focal, like able to focus on than the 10th house, right? So creativity, communication, neighbors, siblings, again, the 3rd house and the 5th house, children, maybe it's your children or like your sibling group, therefore being like the children of your parents, could be a thing. And then as planets start moving into Aries, not only Mercury and Venus as they station retrograde, but certainly as we get closer to the end or more into Aries season, that's when like you're gonna have more dreamy type stuff. It doesn't mean that you aren't now, but it could be enhanced once things move into Aries later on in March, and certainly into April and May. In the Angel Tarot, Taurus, you guys got the Ace of Earth. This is like something new with regards to money. Let's see the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, and important documents or contracts. So the one thing that I would say about this is yes, there may be some new option, new idea, new adventure, but when it comes to documents and contracts, you want to be careful because Mercury retrograde and signing contracts don't usually mix well together. And Mercury is not exactly in favorable placements for this retrograde. He's at he's at detriment in Pisces, and he has no dignity in Aries. But I would say, like with everything else that's going on in Pisces, and things being like unclear or foggy or unsettled, I don't know that this would be a good time to sign a contract. It may be a good time to, collab, feel it out, see if it works. But like new partnerships, new contracts with Mercury and Venus in retrograde, don't do it. Not a good idea. And so, just be careful on that. But I'm not saying new things won't happen and new opportunities won't come your way. I'm saying be careful of signing on the dotted line, because that could wreak havoc after everything goes direct and starts moving forward in the end of April and into May. You could get some sort of reality check when Saturn moves into Aries that you're like, oh fuck, I wish I hadn't done that. So just be careful. Take my word of caution. Not saying don't entertain the new idea. I'm saying just be cautiously optimistic. Okay. Gemini, sun and rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay, this is your 10th and 4th house. So Pisces, where all of that energy is stacked up, is in your 10th house on your career and everything. But that lunar eclipse is happening in your 4th house. So probably something's got to change, give, or adjust in your 4th house. I don't know that this is necessarily like a relocation or a move. It could be with Aquarius in your 9th, Pluto being in your 9th. You could be moving. But I don't know that I would move during an eclipse season. I'm just saying, like, maybe it's like an opportunity that gets presented, but like certainly be hesitant, leery, careful of like the clarity of the situation and whatnot. And of course, you've got Mars direct in your 2nd house in Cancer. So, things clearing up with your worth, your value, your money, and all of those things. But just like I warned Taurus about being cautiously optimistic, if something new presents itself as an opportunity to relocate, particularly, big drastic move, I would definitely be, just be cautious of making that happen. But it doesn't have to be a move. It could really be just a shift in your, you could get promoted. You could get like what's the word? what's the word? I want to say linear. Is it linear? It's not linear. Level. There's like where you get promoted, but it's like the same pay grade as you currently have. And I can't remember the term for it in this moment. So, but you could get, just a lateral, that's the word, lateral move, to a different position that creates a situation where something's got to be adjusted or changed in your home, your foundation, your emotions. And this could just be that you need to like feel or digest your emotions, being with your emotions. So could be something like that happening. So let's see what the tarot has going on. You got the 8 of Air. Hmm. Um, an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. Okay, all of this could be accurate. The lack of self-confidence might clear up as Mars starts to move direct. And then what was the other thing that it said that pinged me in the moment? Maybe I should say what pings me in the moment, but oh, an illusion of being trapped. Yeah, I feel like maybe you feel like you are trapped in your current home situation. You want to move, but you can't. Or you want to move and the finances aren't there, the opportunity isn't there, something like that. Geez, this was me for like 10 years. It felt like I couldn't leave Chicago and go to California. And eventually I just said, fuck it and went. So remember that like the feeling of being trapped is like an illusion, especially if it's like a living situation. Like you can always get out. There are always options. And so just be patient because it may not happen. The options may not present themselves until Mercury and Venus go direct, and that won't be until mid-April. So maybe just some patience needs to happen in that area. So that's what I got for Gemini. Cancer, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay, so you probably are starting to, if you're feeling super stagnant and stuck in the muck right now, it's because of Mars. But Mars is going to station direct very shortly. If not, it already has, depending on when you're watching this, but it stations direct on the 23rd. So give it a minute. I feel like Cancers, you may be like really feeling the effect of not only all the Pisces energy in your ninth house, but the Aquarius energy, Pluto and Aquarius in your eighth house, like the psychic, like you're feeling some feels right now. So if you know a Cancer rising, like they may be going through some crazy, um, like like I said, just all of the psychic senses coming online. You're feeling all of the intuition. It's all just coming down, like the potent downloads and whatnot. And the thing is, with Virgo in your third house, like it's an opportunity to practice communicating or writing, or just feeling what you need to feel of it and letting it go. So the new moon in your ninth house, you're reevaluating your beliefs. Maybe you're a Cancer rising who's new to spirituality. And so to have Pisces in your ninth house could really be an indicator of like you're suddenly just aware of your senses, your ability to sense everything. And then, like I said, Virgo third house, like the lunar eclipse on the 14th, like could be just an opportunity to like, oh, now I understand how to talk about it, right? Um, and now I'm not afraid to talk about it. Like the lunar eclipse does not have to mean that something physically leaves, although Virgo is earth and it's practical, but it also could be like your self-talk or how you communicate with and to yourself, or how you communicate to others. But I would say this is more to do with yourself. And maybe you too much of a critic, because Virgo can be pretty critical. And so anything else I feel for Cancer risings? Not really. Maybe worth mentioning Jupiter in your 12th house now direct, because that can contribute to your ability or lack thereof to communicate. But I really feel like this is, you're shifting how you believe perhaps about yourself and really opening up to your intuitive nature. Six of air. Things are looking up. See, the end of a difficult situation. Taking a trip. Well, yeah, you could be doing that. You could be traveling. Ninth house, I suppose. I didn't even consider that. You could be taking a trip, and this could also just mean like you decide to experiment with hallucinogens, like ayahuasca or something like that. Like legit, that could be a thing. This is a health axis, ninth house, third house. You could be taking a trip. So if you're from Chicago, or if you've ever been to Chicago, you know that Chicagoans refer to LSD, Lakeshore Drive, for a reason. Anyway, it's a trip. So, um, but yeah, absolutely. Like this could be like something's concluding, a difficult situation, perhaps with your neighbors, perhaps with your siblings, perhaps with your neighborhood. Something's ending that's allowing you to kind of release, let go, and therefore take a trip and travel. So all of these things could be a factor for you. Perhaps you're ending a situation within yourself that's allowing you to open up to new things, or opening you up to the freedom to travel, the freedom to take the trip. Maybe you're accepting and therefore more open to the benefits of ayahuasca. Who knows? I'm not saying ayahuasca is the thing. I'm using that as an example. So it could be any type of thing, that you are opening yourself up to. Maybe you need some sort of like natural herbal medicine that comes in the form of something you've been afraid to try, like marijuana. Okay, could be. I'm just saying. All right, it's legit. Anyway, all right, that's what I got for Cancers. All right, Leo sun, Leo rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025, to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th. Leo, you are going through it because this is like your relationship houses. This isn't your relationship houses, but I mean, you've got Pluto in the seventh house in Aquarius, which is a relationship house. The eighth house is Pisces, which is also a relationship house. It could be about money, it could be about other people's money and taxes. But also that lunar eclipse in Virgo in your second house could be about your value, how you value your earthly self, how you value your body, your physical body, how you value your gifts and talents. And with Mars stationing direct in your 12th, where have you been self-sabotaging yourself and connecting yourself to the people that you're around, Pluto in the seventh, that's now affecting your money, right? Like Leo, you've got this like attention, or like you're an attention whore, which could be really like now you're not getting the attention, or the attention's negative. Like Leos just love attention, right? Leo risings love attention. There's nothing wrong with that, but now you need to get that attention from yourself. Like, what do you actually value about yourself? Because if your partnerships and relationships and your Pluto and your seventh are going to be disrupted, go away, your experience, whatever, like you're having changes in those relationships and those partnerships, you're upgrading your relationships, but you've got to upgrade your relationship with yourself. Okay, you've got to upgrade how you believe in yourself, how you value yourself, and that will directly affect your money and how you make money. So the new moon in your eighth house, that could definitely bring on some intuitive, psychic stuff, certainly bring on some manifestation, perhaps of other people's money. But then you've got that second house lunar eclipse in Virgo, like that could change some things, like material possessions. It could change um like what you have, like what things you have. But really, this is a relation. You're going to be in this relationship thing for 20 years. And so I would say tune into that 12th house, similar with Aries here, like, that whole like self-sabotage, ego. But also your dreams could be vivid. 12th house and 8th house are activated. Your dreams could be vivid. Your sleep could be disrupted, or you're sleeping like a freaking baby. And getting a lot out of it. So, yeah, a lot going on there for Leo, but a lot of it has to do with your own self value and self worth. You got the 4 of air, and it's time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time before making a decision, definitely. Meditation may provide answers. Yeah, so you got to calm down. I think Leo risings particularly are so I mean, fire signs in general, like this is something that I really can't relate to. um, but fire signs in general, but Leo specifically, you're on the go, 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 go. You always have to be doing something. And God forbid you be a manifesting generator in human design. I'm not wronging any of this, but I'm just saying if you're in that, if you're one of those, if you're a manifesting generator in human design, like you just got to constantly be going. And you may need to take a vacation, you may need to actually travel. And we're going to have a lot moving into your 9th house of Aries very shortly. And so this could be the push that Leos need to actually like take time for themselves to learn what they actually enjoy and not following along with what everyone else what everyone else is up to. I think Leos, you're kind of one of those, like you want the attention, but like don't necessarily stand on your own ground. You kind of go with whatever everyone else is doing. I'm not saying this across the board for all Leos, but I definitely think there are some Leo risings out there who, they just want the attention, and therefore they choose to do things to suit the masses versus going in their own trajectory and doing what they actually want to do, right? So you kind of sacrifice getting the attention for actually fulfilling your own heart's desire. And since you are the ruler, or since the sun rules your sign, you'd think that, but no, the sun rules their sign, so they're just a little bit more egoic, and therefore they just like the attention. But in this case, Leo's follow your heart, follow your heart's desire. So this I got for Leo. Virgo sun, Virgo rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay, if you know a Virgo, please tell them that you love them and that they're a brilliant, beautiful person. Okay, because they need to hear it. My heart goes out to Virgos. Okay, because I know a few Virgos and I know some Virgo risings. They going through some shitty shit right now because unfortunately they have the South Node in their first house, and not unlike a Scorpio, which was me a few years ago. Having a South Node in your first house, you got to look yourself in the mirror, and you don't like even doing that because you're afraid you're going to see your eyeshadows wrong, or your plastic surgery is not working, or your hair, or you're not comfortable in your own damn skin, because you're so nitpicky about yourself and so self-deprecating, that it is disrupting everything else. Because oddly enough, Pisces is your 7th house, which is about relationships and partnerships. You've got Mars stationing direct in your 11th house, which is groups, communities, and social media, which is people in relationships. And you've got Pluto in Aquarius in your 6th house, which is your work, your daily routines, your health habits. So here's what's happening with Virgos. With the South Node moving through your first house, there is something you have got to confront and face about yourself that you do not want to accept. You do not want to acknowledge it. You wish it would go away. It's not your fault. It's not your problem, but it is your problem. It is something that, whether you caused it or not, it's something that you have to accept, heal, and all of the things. And so your relationships are definitely going through it. And some relationships, I feel like with Virgos, particularly if you have anything in Sagittarius in your fourth house, which is emotions, foundation, home, maternal type things. You may, I feel like a lot of Virgos may be seeing like the beer goggles or the rose colored goggles are falling off with regard to their relationships, and they're getting a hardcore reality check. Like, oh shit, I got fucked again. I got screwed again. I got taken again. I got swindled again. All of those things. So all of that. And that Pluto in your sixth house, you're having to redefine your health. You're having to redefine your daily routines. But like, because it's Aquarius and because it's Pluto, like, you're so like, it's got to go a certain kind of way that it's at your detriment, because it's creating like I don't know if you've all ever been around a Virgo or somebody who has strong Virgo placements, but honestly, Virgo, anyone who I've ever met who has strong Virgo placements can literally make me feel like I am less than in a half a second. Okay, of lots of family who has a lot of Virgo, and they're like meticulous, right? It's when we have family dinner, the dishes have to be done in the moment, and the cleaning has to be done, and all of the before we can even sit down and play cards. So, and I'm not wronging this, I'm just saying it drives me nuts. But if you've ever been around somebody who has strong Virgo placements, then you know that they, have to have things go a certain way. If the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon, it has to be an exact half teaspoon, right? They probably are the ones who know their routine from 6:02 when they wake up to 6:05 when they have think of Sheldon Cooper. Okay, he knew exactly when he voided his bowels. Is that the phrase he used? He knew exactly when the show was going to start, all of these things. This is Virgo. Virgo is meticulous, and it's at their detriment because they get mentally constipated with all of the details, because of course now we're in this time and space where like time is an illusion. So 6:02 now maybe 7:02 or 7:35, and Virgos are like, what the fuck? How am I so off? It's okay, Virgo. It's okay. But here's the thing about this South Node lunar eclipse in your first house is that you have got to stop being so critical and judgmental and blamey and victimy to all of the things that you feel like are wrong with you, because they're not wrong with you. They are things that you are meant to embrace, heal, overcome in this life, but there is nothing wrong with you. So all of the shit that I just said about you is not a matter of me being like, Virgos are bad. No, I don't think that at all, because we need Virgos to do Virgo things, which is to be of service, right? And my guess is that most Virgos are very warm-hearted, compassionate people. But what gets in the way is their need for things to be perfect or to go a certain way. And so I feel like Virgos have the biggest struggle over the next 18 months while the South Node is in their first house. And while we have so much change and transformation energy at play, that Virgos have the most difficult stretch of time here. And this is the first opportunity really that we're going to see what really is how Virgos are going to respond and react to these first set of eclipses and this first set of big changes. So if you know a Virgo and you love a Virgo, tell them you love them and they're going to be okay. But they are going to have to make some changes. All right, Virgo. you got the Seven of Water, appropriate. Y'all need to learn how to go with the flow a little bit. Okay, a complex decision. The need to do research. Stop procrastination. Stop procrastinating. You know, Virgos procrastinate because they're so afraid that things aren't going to be perfect and you know, the way they're meant to go. So they're the, you know, they're the ones that will procrastinate because they're so meticulous and detail oriented that like if it can't go that way, they don't want to start the project yet. Well, I don't have all the ingredients. I'm not going to do that thing. Or I don't have the right, I don't know, I don't have the right cup. I don't have the right spoon. I don't have the right bowl. I don't own a ramen bowl, so I can't make ramen, right? I don't have the soup bowl like the restaurant has for the miso soup, so I can't make miso soup at home. I'm just throwing examples out there. None of this actually has to be accurate, but the point is that Virgos kind of have this tendency, like they they need to have all of the things before they'll even start the project. And sometimes you can start the project and let it get a little messy. And unfortunately, I feel like Virgos are going to learn what messy actually feels like. So that's what I got for Virgos. Love you so much. All right, Libra, this is your forecast for Pisces season to include the new moon in Pisces on February 27th and the full moon in Virgo lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay. So we're talking about the sixth house and 12th house. And of course, the sixth house is daily routines, health habits. That's where Pisces is at. That's where this concentrated energy. You may be going through some health related stuff. You know, with all this Pisces, you probably have been for quite some time dealing with some health stuff, dealing with some daily routine stuff. 12th house lunar eclipse in Virgo, sleep, hidden enemies, including yourself, self sabotage, that kind of thing. You do have Pluto in navigating through your fifth house, which is your heart's desire, your inner child, your children. And then, of course, Mars direct in your 10th house. So all about your career, your job, public appearance, all of those sorts of things. So let's break this down a little bit. Your daily routines, you know, certainly Mars retrograde in your 10th house has probably created some sort of a career change, work change, or just how you interact or engage in public could be changing. That sixth house where Pisces is at, you are probably moving through some type of changing your ways, changing your habits to focus more on your health, to focus more on your work. You know, something around that. This could also have something to do with pets. Maybe you are, unfortunately, maybe you've lost a pet or are losing a pet, or something like that. And then, of course, your fifth house, you're going to be dealing with inner child stuff, following your heart's desire for the next 20 years. So that's going on. Maybe you became a parent when Pluto entered Aquarius. So for the next 20 years, you're going to be raising a child. Therefore, your routines are changing because your child is now going to kindergarten and your whole daily routine is changing. That Virgo lunar eclipse in your 12th, that I would say pay attention to your sleep, you know, your dreams, but also pay attention to like maybe how you have a sleep routine. Maybe you're a napper, maybe you're not, but now you're going to become one because you realize that like having an hour-long nap in the middle of the day is kind of fine, type of thing. So anyway, a lot going on there with Libra, but a lot of it has to do with routine. A lot of it has to do with work, and potentially with children, all of those sorts of things. So let's see what's up with the tarot. All right, we got the 10 of Earth. Too much work. That could be a thing too. That's not allowing you to accomplish your health routines. Accept help from others. Yes, get yourself some support so that you're not overworked and you can focus on your health. Life is out of balance. Yes. Stress related health concerns. Okay, yeah. So this is really focused on that 10th house where Mars is now direct. So you've probably had some sort of clarity around your work situation, your health habits. Yeah, I mean, with all this Pisces energy, you're going to need to focus on your health a little bit. Maybe it's getting back into swimming. Because Pisces is water. Perhaps it's your nutrition and how you need to focus on what nutrients you actually need to be consuming, or maybe you need to just like get rid of the fast food and the fried food and get into a more simplified, clean eating. I don't like that word, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like fresh foods and things like that type of thing, because obviously the level of work that you've been doing is too much. And you need to pay more attention to your physical health and overall physical and mental well-being. So let's look out for Libra. Scorpio, sun and rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. We're talking about your 5th house and your 11th house. So your heart's desire, children, you're very fertile right now. So if you are or are not trying to get pregnant, practice accordingly. Because this is about fertility with that Pisces in your 5th house fully loaded. But this could also be like fertility is not necessarily about like getting pregnant. It could also be like the fertility of fertilizing your projects, your creative projects, because this is also the house of like creativity, heart's desire, following your heart, getting creative. This could be like a labor of love of, fulfilling your mission, whether it's writing or, launching a new program. However that is, maybe this is just you choosing to get back into your creative flow. So that could be your fertilization. It does not necessarily have to mean pregnancy. I'm just saying that there is the possibility that if you are or are not trying to get pregnant, practice accordingly. Okay, then the 11th house, groups, communities, social media, where that Virgo lunar eclipse is going to be, and you're changing something, how you interact or engage with your groups that you're involved in, whether it's nonprofits or friend groups or otherwise. And then community and social media. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about like, fresh, like my woes with social media and whatnot. So if you're feeling into that, maybe you've been involved in a nonprofit and the nonprofit is dissipating and whatnot. You could be like, where do I go? What do I do from here? And this is where you feel back into that 5th house and you're in your own creative projects. You do have Pluto in your 4th house. So, feeling the feels, having the home and foundation that you need in order to be the shining star, Leo in the 10th, happening, Mars direct in your 9th, heading back to your 10th. This is publishing, this is this is podcasting, this is, doing. So here's the thing. It's like, you've got to feel into the 5th house creativity in order to capture the energy of the 9th, which is publication and whatnot, right? This is the teacher. This is the, this is what the hell? This is the teacher. This is the educator. This is the wisdom that a Scorpio holds, right? Is the 9th house Cancer. Like you hold a lot of wisdom and it's time that you finish the project. I feel like I'm talking to myself right now and I'm looking at my camera. So I'm like, need to give myself this pep talk every freaking day. My point is, Scorpio, that if you have been working on some projects, you may already be noticing with all of the concentration in your fifth house that, like, you know, I don't know about any other Scorpios, but I've been an insomniac lately. You can say that's Jupiter and Gemini, or you could say that's all this energy in the fifth house that I'm like, I just want to work on projects. I just want to get things done. And there's not enough time in the day, and I don't want to sleep all the time. So therefore, I apparently gave myself insomnia. So don't do what I do. Anyway, but the thing is like put all of the energy into your creative projects. And that will, you know, if things are closing out in a community or a group setting, then it may be just an opportunity to really focus on your own labors of love. You got card number 10, which is the wheel. And this is Archangel Michael. A time of positive change, yes. A situation suddenly moves forward. Fortune is on your side. Yeah, I mean, you're Scorpios, I really do feel like we're about to reap some rewards. You know, we've been through it the last couple of years. Certainly like a couple years ago when we had the South Node in our first house, like, you know, that was 2022 was a fucking ride, right? But you've made a lot of good pivots. And it's now like you are the wisdom. You are the one that has something to offer and give in service to others, right? And so perhaps like that's the change that you're seeing. Mars direct in your ninth house is like your role in groups and communities is shifting to a more leadership type of role, and you're going to reap the rewards and the benefits of that. So you've got a lot going on here with creativity and what you can bring to the table, whether that's your writing, your project, a podcast, whatever. But also this is like perhaps you now have the tools and the skills to provide to a group or community, Virgo in the 11th house, to really participate on a different level, as in a leadership or a board member or something like that. And you're actually like bringing something of service to the group community or social media. I have said that like my role on social media may change to not my own personal social media, but just what I do for the nonprofit that I'm a part of and the social media management that I do for that nonprofit. So, you know, who knows? Who knows how that's going to shift for me? So anyway, that's what I have for Scorpio. Sagittarius, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay, this is Virgo is your 10th house, Pisces is your 4th house. So, you know, something's going to have to give in your work and public stuff versus the things that you need to focus on, which is your emotions, maternal things, home, foundation. And with Pluto in your 3rd house, I feel like this is a lot about like if you have recently relocated or you're getting ready to, like your neighborhood, your neighbors, and how those people can be of support for you in your home situation, for whatever you're moving through in home and emotional stuff. But you also need to let go of something with work. This really could be like a career change or once again, a lateral move so that you have less responsibility because something's got to give in that 10th house in order to really support that 4th house. But also something could be changing in your 4th house. You could be moving. I don't know that that's it, but like something about your home foundation, maternal situation. Maybe you've got kids that are graduating from high school and college and they're moving on. You've got Mars direct in your 8th house. which could be, could be money situations, particularly like taxes, inheritances, and whatnot. This could be something related to that as well. I'm not going to say that somebody's mom is going to pass on, because that is not what this is. It could be, but I would have to see somebody's individual chart to actually like even begin to say whether that is. But I mean, there could be some situation going on with an inheritance with Mars direct, although Mars being direct, maybe it's resolving. And so you can kind of now focus on your emotions, your grief, your processing of something related to that. Mars direct in the 8th house could also be like intuition, could be like psychic senses. You could be more sensitive or in tuned or attuned in to, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, like your knowing. You just know that you need to let go of things that are going on at work, because you need to focus on what's going on at home and taking care of your own emotional well-being. Remember, 4th house is also like the self-care house. So maybe you need to process some emotions and like I said, grieve about something, and whatnot. Obviously, the Pluto in your 3rd house, neighborhood, siblings, those situations are going to be going on for the next 20 years. So that's going to be a continued situation. This could also be between the Virgo Pisces, depending on where your Sagittarius placements are. It could be a square, a T square, which could bring some tension between work, home, and you and your role, your involvement, that kind of thing. Maybe you need to get real about your own like physical body, whether it's like getting it more in shape, maybe it's strength training, something like that. Maybe you've been spending way too much time sitting at a sedentary job, and now you're like, oh shit, my health is, some sort of way. And so you really want to pay more attention to that. Of course, you have the retrogrades, Venus and Mercury retrogrades. So if you are considering a move and you're about to sign mortgage papers, or something like that, or somebody maybe is co-signing for you, like this may be a time to kind of like think that through a little bit. Again, cautiously optimistic is what I would be about those sorts of things. So and you got number 14. This is balance. Yep. Archangel Zadkiel, 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 or Zadkiel. I'm guessing it's Zadkiel though. Okay, we got the need for balance and moderation. Yes. Cooperation and cooperation and compromise. Yes. And wait for perfect timing. I don't know that I agree with perfect timing, because it's divine timing, but yeah, I mean, I feel like if you are looking for somebody to maybe like cohabitate or share space with, like divine timing, like it's going to happen when it's meant to happen, but it's going to have to be with somebody. And maybe you're in a situation where the person that you currently live with is not cooperating, is not compromising, is demanding more of you. And there's like this like balance, like maybe both your work and your home are demanding everything from you. And then T square to your first house, you're sacrificing yourself and your well-being, and it's therefore out of balance because you're like, God, I'm giving everything to the person that I live with, and I'm giving everything to my job, and then you're out of balance, right? So you are, you've got to be the one to set some boundaries, set some limitations for yourself in order to, maintain your own health. So I could see all that for a Sag, um, to be going through all of that. So that's what I got for Sagittarius. Capricorn, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay, so you got Pluto running through your second house, so your self-worth is definitely a continued topic. And then the Pisces new moon in your third house, communication, neighbors, writing, that sort of thing. You could be like, Capricorns could legit be writing a book on the effect of Pluto in their first house for 16 years, right? Like the transformation of my life for the last 16 years, and then ninth house publishing, whatnot. Okay. Ninth house is publishing, but you also could be shifting your beliefs, right? You could be shifting your philosophies, maybe as you've been writing, writing something or communicating something, you're like, geez, I can't like passionately talk about it. So I don't know if this is the thing. And you explore a different philosophy. Like, for example, if you've had a certain philosophy that you've operated by for the last however long, and then all of a sudden you're trying to talk to people about it and you're like, oh, I don't know. So you could be switching, from one philosophy to another belief system. Maybe it's a religious change, something like that. And then, of course, you have relationships have been on the redefining or renegotiation table with Mars retrograde in your seventh house. But as Mars stations direct, there may be some resolve with that. And therefore, like everything's kind of going to clear up there. And it could be maybe it was like a collaboration. You were going to collab with someone. And now all of a sudden, like Mars stations direct, and you're like, oh, nah, that's not going to work. But, I would also say be leery because of course, Mercury and Venus retrograde between your fourth house and your third house. This could bring on some changes. This is definitely, again, cautiously optimistic about contracts, relationships, partnership, whomever you live with. Those sorts of things could be on the docket for you, Capricorn. You get the Three of Earth. Three of Earth. The power of creativity, recognition for very high quality work, and be a team player. Be a team player. Capricorns like to do it alone because they're like, I can fucking do it better than the rest of you. I can work longer, like all of the things. But yeah, I think this is the need for support, the need to be supported. Like you don't have to do it all, even though I realize that you have the highest work ethic, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it all. In fact, it's better if you let other people help you, because then you can focus on other things. And with things about to move strongly into your fourth house, like, you could need to really allow the support, allow the team to help you so that you can be aware and attentive to things that may be coming up, shifting and changing in your home and foundation situation. So I could totally see that with Capricorn risings and Capricorn sun and risings. All right, that's what I got for Capricorn. All right, Aquarius, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for Pisces season 2025 to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th. Pisces is your second house, your self-worth, your value, money, material things, all of the things. And something is shifting, changing, what you value, how you value it, your self value, your self worth, how you value yourself. Like Aquarius, how's it going with Pluto in your first house? Like how's that going? How's that going? Because like your whole world is changing, it's transforming, and not only is your individual world changing and transforming, but like so is the rest of the world around you. And so there's a lot of upheaval potentially, but there's also a lot of money things changing. And Virgo in your eighth house, definitely something potentially to do with taxes. That's tax season, isn't it? I don't know. But taxes, or an inheritance, or something to that effect. You could get some like potent intuition about your self-worth and your value that could really change the way you choose to make money. I would say also Mars direct in your sixth house, in Cancer, is also like you have had some kind of a realization, or possibly had some kind of a realization about your daily routines and habits with regards to your health, like knowing that you're like, okay, yes, I love my job and I can't do my job and pay attention to my health, similar to, we talked about that with Libra, right? And so or you love participating in whatever you participate in, but you're like, oh, but my health is taking a back seat because of that. So definitely some opportunities here for you to explore with regards to acknowledging that you're a powerful person, that you are important, that you are valued, that people do love you, that people do respect you, that people do honor you for what you bring to the table. And so, definitely some places to like pay attention to how you make money, what possessions do you value, what is the value for your, how do you feel about yourself? Because we really need Aquarians to have a high self-value and self-worth, because we need you to be doing Aquarius things, like being the visionary and being the future the future uh seer of things. All right, you guys got number 20, and this is renewal, and this is Archangel uh Jeremiel, 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 Jeremiel. We're going with it. Renewal, and then the okay, review and evaluate a favorable assessment of the facts. Time to move in a new direction. Okay. So okay, what I love about this is that Aquarians do have the ability to zoom out and see objectively what direction probably needs to be taken next. The problem with Aquarians is that they kind of just sit back like, are these fuckers ever going to figure it out? But so it's like you're reassessing, you're reevaluating what's happening, in order to go in a different direction. Because Aquarians, if you haven't figured it out yet, like you have some of the answers. You and Pisces are the wisdom of humanity, and so you know that you have some of the answers, but now it's like, okay, I need to pull back and like reevaluate, take stock, so that I have all of the right information before I say that we should go in this direction or that direction, because maybe we need to go in this whole other direction, right? And I feel like this is like you're learning to value yourself. Therefore, like the mundane, the humdrum job, or the humdrum way of accumulating stuff, or the humdrum way of earning money is no longer going to work for you, and you're coming to that realization. And that's why you're kind of like pulling back and taking a look like, yeah, I think we should do this, I think we should go that way. Sorry for the yawn. I'm moving some energy through, obviously. But yeah, I feel like with Aquarius, this is exactly where with Pluto there is you're really just kind of seeing things from a new perspective, and therefore acknowledging your value, your worth, your ways of making money. Like I said, the humdrum day-to-day job is not going to work for you anymore. You've got to see things from a whole different perspective. So it's like for Aquarius. And last but certainly not least, the star of the show today. Happy birthday, Pisces. This is your forecast for your season, Pisces season 2025, to include the Pisces new moon on February 27th and the Virgo lunar eclipse on March 14th. And of course, you have Pluto in your 12th house, and you have Mars direct in your 5th house. So you may have had some resolve around some creative things, something to do with children, and whatnot. But the reality is that you've got to look yourself in the mirror and love yourself and take good care of yourself and beautify yourself and all of that, because relationships, that Virgo 7th house relationships are about to take a hit. Actually very similar to what Leo is going through right now, in that like you've got to really do things that support you, that matter to you, that take care of you, that fulfill your heart, and you've got to have some boundaries, and like that's part of the conflict or the flaw with Pisces, is they have no boundaries. But unfortunately, with Saturn in your 1st house and the South Node in your 7th house, you're going to see some changes with relationships, with partnerships, collaboration partners, things like that. So some creative projects may be affected by that. So happy birthday. But Pisces, there is something definitely shifting for you, as everything is moving through your 1st house. Again, this is your appearance, who you are to the world, how you show up to the world, all of those things. And so you may be moving into a whole different career trajectory. You may be reevaluating how you do business, how you, present yourself, how you dress, all of those things. And of course, Venus and Mercury are going to station retrograde in your 2nd house and then move back to your 1st house. So, this could be about money. This could be about like, this isn't working. This lifestyle isn't working, whether it's a luxury lifestyle or a minimalist lifestyle. Maybe it's not working. And Venus showing up in your 2nd house and retrograding, come back to that 2017. Like, where were you then? And where are you now? And is it still in alignment for you to be there? So, and I realize every year just how many friggin' Pisces I know. It's crazy. All right. 10 of water, otherwise known as the 10 of mermaids. Okay, and this card says, I hope I can read this. A contented and rewarding family. That doesn't, oh yeah, I guess it is. A contented and rewarding family. Hmm. Um, oh, contented and rewarding family life. Um, your creative, hold on. Let me make this a little bigger. These water cards are like a turquoise color and the text is white, so they're like extra hard to read. It's also in italics. Okay, so we have a contented and rewarding family life. Um, your your emotional and material needs are met and trustworthy relationships. Okay, so I love this, even though it's really like Jupiter, or yeah, you've got Jupiter in your fourth house, like, direct in Gemini. But I feel like with that Virgo South node, like your relationships are shifting because you're learning how to trust people differently. You're learning boundaries, which Pisces is usually not good at. But you could be learning boundaries just based on Jupiter and the South node, and how they are placed for you. And so I really love this, like a contented and rewarding family. Like you want a family that supports you, that values you, that supports you emotionally, that give, because sometimes we water signs need that extra emotional support, because we get that we have the least boundaries, Pisces, you being the least because you're the ocean. Anyway, so I love that for Pisces. I think Pisces, every Pisces that I know definitely has the people in their life to support them as they continue to learn and grow, and create boundaries and, uphold their boundaries. And so, um, yeah, it's definitely a changing time for Pisces. All right, that's what I got for the sun and rising signs. I hope y'all appreciate and love this video. Please click the like button. Please drop me a comment. I really appreciate the engagement and the interaction. It really does like warm my heart, to know that, you guys appreciate my content and everything. Sometimes, like I said, I recorded this whole thing yesterday and I hated it. And I was like, I got to go redo it. So here I am redoing it. Because for me, like I do have some kind of Virgo in my chart. um, but anyway, please check out the You Are a Leader, Start Acting Like One videos that are here. I will try to put them in a playlist so that you can easily access them. And then, of course, the regular wellness astrology videos are available. Guys, it is a crazy time. And here's what I want to kind of finish this off with is like, all of this was going to happen no matter what, because it was just kind of written in the stars. It was written in the cosmos that it was all going to happen. And you signed up for this. Your soul wanted to be a part of this journey. Your soul wanted to be a part of the world in this time and space. And so we can all complain. We could all trauma bond with other people who, disgust or dislike what's going on. We could all complain. We could all doom and gloom. We could all dystopia. But the thing is that if we go down that trajectory, what happens is then all of our thoughts are doom and gloom and we create that. Whereas if we actually step into being a blessing, being of service, embracing the change, trusting that God's got us, trusting that we're taken care of, trusting that we wanted this experience, that will create a much higher frequency into utopia. I'm not saying it's going to be a smooth ride if we all just jump into high frequency and be like, la, 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 la. That is not going to fucking happen. Okay. I get that. I'm not that naive, I promise. But What I'm saying is that if you sit in the stew of shit, of doom and gloom, that's what you're going to create. And therefore, that's what's going to radiate around you. Whereas what I'm suggesting is that if we all try a little bit each day to be in a high vibration of it's all going to be okay. I am well protected. I am cared for. I chose to be a part of this and I want to see where this goes because it's exciting, it's new, it's fresh, and holy crap, I get to be a part of it as a human having this experience. If we all feel into that every day, multiple times a day, think of what that will radiate out into the people around us. Because whether we want to believe it or not, or whether we like it or not, our thoughts, our words, and our intentions do reflect and affect those around us. So you really want to be careful. That's why I said earlier about like if you're following somebody who's just angry and pissed off at what's going on, are you sure you want that energy in your sphere right now, in your field right now? Because right now you need to be attentive to who and what information and emotions and reactivity that you're allowing to permeate your energetic sphere, your energetic body. So I'm sending you a ton of love. We got this. We signed up for this journey. We're in this. So, but like I said, please hit the like button, drop me a comment and just say hi and all of those things. And I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.